Hey everybody, Eustace the Monk here. I promised myself that I would not do another Untimely Thoughts video, at least not one in the next 6 months or so, but here I am doing another one. And the reason I kind of feel compelled to do another one so soon after the last one is because I've been having these untimely thoughts, untimely doubts, again about Steam and how they've not learned any kind of lesson from the failure of Greenlight. And as a matter of fact, they actively avoid calling it a failure, which I think is a silly mistake. It's a failure by any stretch of the imagination. Their own post-mortem on Greenlight says that, well, it was a success because there's over 100 games that have made $1 million or more that have been Greenlight that would not have seen the light of day without Steam Greenlight. Well, it sounds like a lot till you realize that here, I've got a screen grab here for you. It's kind of illustrative of what I mean when I say Steam Greenlight is a failure by all accounts. Here's a screen grab from my Greenlight page, and you can see I've voted on 2,100 some odd items before realizing I was pissing into the ocean. And along the right here, we can see that 5,600 some odd were greenlit, and 6,585 were released, which seems bizarre to me that there were more released on Greenlight than were actually greenlit. Okay. But, over 100 of these released games, we'll use that 6,585 number. Over 100 of those made over $1 million. Well, we'll say 101. That's over 100, right? Made over $1 million. Well, we run those numbers and we realize that of those 6,585 released games, only 1.5% of them made that kind of financial success. Let's let that sink in. 1.5%, around that. You end up getting with 1.533 blah blah blah. Let's think about that for a second. Only 1.5% of those Steam Greenlight released games made what we would consider to be a financial success. Imagine your job, or if you're a student, your school, things that you do that you're expected to perform at, and you get 1.5% performance rating. Yeah. And most of my thoughts that compelled me to make this video are turning towards Steam Direct, and why I think Steam Direct will probably fail and be called a success by Steam, as Greenlight is because they refuse to do anything meaningful to change the way they do things to make it succeed. And that's it's pitiable because I liked Greenlight, as I said in my last video. It is now shit and I hate it because if you look at the released games on the Greenlight page, and there's literally a game called There's Poop in My Soup 2, VR Paper Toss, where you're throwing wadded up papers into a waste paper basket. I mean, really? So Greenlight's a failure. And now our replacement is Steam Direct, and I fear it's going to go down the same path, and let me tell you why. They're already balking at having any kind of significant entry fee. And when I mean significant, they say, well, it could be $100, which $100 clearly doesn't work because Greenlight uses a $100 admission fee, to $5,000, and $5,000 is making people bleat and moan and carry on about how an indie game developer can't afford to pay $5,000 to be on Steam. And to that I say, what the fuck kind of business are you having where $5,000 is too much money for you? And let me put that in perspective. Every single one of my Hall of Shame award winners, such as they are, had a budget of over $100,000, 100,000 US dollars. Over that. I mean, Starforge had $137 some odd thousand dollars. Goddess had $750,000. Towns ended up making $2 million, etc., etc., etc. You're gonna tell me that these developers, those shit games, could not afford $5,000, and they're shit games. They're in the Hall of Shame because they're not only shit games, but they took the entire indie crowdfunding early access model and wiped their ass with it. But actually, one of the comments, I think this is the problem with Steam, or one of the problems with Steam. Commenter says, well, I'm in my late teens, I'm a hobby game designer, and I can't afford $5,000. And I would say, I don't know how to say this, but kid, your stuff doesn't deserve to be on Steam. Just because you're a developer doesn't mean you deserve to be there. There's other platforms where if I'm looking for someone's school project game, I can go there and find it and play it and perhaps enjoy it. Steam isn't where every single game belongs. And that's the problem, is that Valve seems to think that Steam is somehow... They would like for us to think otherwise, but they seem to think that it's somehow, particularly lately, whereas 37% of the entire library was released last year on Steam. They seem to think that every single game belongs on Steam, regardless of its quality. They do no quality control, and that's why Direct will fail. There's zero quality control. They're going to rely, instead of having human beings doing the stuff that human beings should be doing on the Steam platform, they're going to rely on their game matching algorithms to bring you these wonderful yet unknown submissions that I'm sure that they're going to get on a constant basis, and it'll just be a pot of gold at the end of the rainbow each and every day. And Steam's algorithms suck. It is a pain in the ass to find anything interesting because there's so much shit. Their heart's in the right place, but it's like, man, they're recommending every VR game that exists on Steam to me. I don't own a VR headset, so I cannot play them. I'm trying to hit I'm not interested on each and every one. I don't know what, if anything, that does. I don't know, because visual novels, I hate visual novels. If I ever go to hell and pay for my crimes, I am going to be forced to play visual novels. They're the worst games ever. Every goddamn visual novel they show me. Every VR game they show me. Every RPG Maker game they show me. Why? Their algorithm is a joke, and they're relying on it to make Direct work? The Steam Direct work? Come on. And I would say, fuck Steam Direct. I wouldn't even call it Steam Direct. I would just be like, I don't know what I would call it, because it's Steam Direct. What the fuck does that even mean? Steam Greenlight made sense to me. I was voting to Greenlight games. What the fuck is even Steam Direct? What the hell is that? My ideal Steam Direct would be like, here, I have 2-3 people and we're developing a game, blah blah blah. We have this successful Kickstarter, blah blah blah. I pay $5,000, yes, $5,000, because let's face it, it's your marketing budget, it's your getting on Steam budget, it's money well spent. And you have an account rep at Steam. A Steam employee, not a fucking automated process that I fill in a bunch of forms online, give you my credit card, charge my money, and then my slop can be on Steam. No. You get an account rep, and do it by email, do it by phone, whatever, and say, hey, sell me your game. Send me your material, market to me. Convince me you need to be on Steam. I've worked positions similar to that during the .com boom. And let me tell you, you're going to eliminate half the garbage right there. Because they got their head in their ass. It's like, if they can't get you a marketing video and a paragraph-long email, they can't get that stuff together to get on the largest PC game distributing network in the entire world, then why do we think they're going to get you a good game? So yeah, my prediction, Direct, it is going to take a long-ass time for them to realize that Direct is bullshit, and it will end too. I mean, Gabe Newell said it himself. We don't want to be dictators as to what the content of Steam... And I'm like, what are you talking about? You must be the dictator. You must have more control over your shit. You have to. How many Starforges are we going to have? How many goddesses are we going to have? Especially Space-Based DF9. A clearly unfinished game from a clearly established developer. And they just say, well, it's done. It's done. It's clearly not done. I uncovered a bug so bad I thought it was a feature that had been removed from the game. Valve could have easily told Double Fine, finish your game or you're never seen the light of day on Steam ever again. Fuck you. You're not going to wipe your ass with early access, and we're not going to let you do it. But they didn't do it because, for whatever reason. I think early access is a really awesome thing. I see it not getting the attention it needs from Steam. Maybe I'm being pessimistic, but I have no... Who has any reason to believe that Steam Direct isn't going to end up like Steam Greenlight? I mean, there's quote-unquote digital paperwork. There's maybe a fee that they're even tossing around having the $100 fee. Like, well, what is that going to change? Do the same thing, get the same result. Let's think about this for a second. They're using algorithms to match us with games that don't work. At least if my experience is any indication of how well these algorithms work, they suck shit. It is very tough for me to find games that I'm interested in on Steam. Very tough. We're relying on the same formula that didn't work for Greenlight. All we're doing is we're seemingly to take away the voting, I guess. They haven't really went into if we will have any input, which is fine if we don't, because Gabe Newell is saying, well, we should be less of a dictatorship and blah, 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 blah. It would be fine if no one voted on what games came out. I think it would be fine, because the result that we've seen is horrendous. So we may or may not have the voting system. We're adding digital paperwork. We may raise the fee. And we're relying on algorithm that doesn't work. Oh, that's a formula for success. Agree with me, disagree with me. Tell me to stick it in my ass because you're a teenage hobby game developer and you want all your stuff to be on Steam. Hey, tell me in the comments. Comments are open. I don't censor them. You want to leave one, leave one. You don't want to, then don't.